Welcome to a deep dive where we unpack intriguing source material. Today, we're exploring excerpts from Rita Lakin's mystery novel, Getting Old is Criminal.
That's right. And it's quite a story. We're looking at parts of this published fiction, and our mission really is to guide you through the core stuff, the characters, the mysteries unfolding, and these surprising connections.
Yeah, how personal relationships get tangled up with, well, some pretty serious danger,
Hmm.
especially around assumed identities.
Exactly. We want to
Yeah.
pull out those key elements, the character moments.
Absolutely. So the source material starts us off in this place, Lanai Gardens.
Mm-hmm.
It's this retirement community, and you get a real feel for the dynamics there. Lively, strong friendships, maybe sometimes a bit misguided in how they look out for each other.
Oh, definitely. Which leads us right into that first hook, doesn't it? The fake facts. Seems small, domestic almost.
But it immediately blows up a romantic getaway. Gladdy and her boyfriend Jack are off somewhere, and bam, this fax arrives saying her friend Sophie is dying.
So they rush back, cutting the trip short, and the tension starts right there. Jack finds out Gladdy told her friend Bella where they were, which was apparently against their agreement.
So you see it instantly, Gladdy's loyalty to her friends, Jack wanting privacy, and the friends, well, maybe interfering a bit too much.
Exactly. It sets up those core dynamics. And then back at Lanai Gardens.
The crisis is not a crisis at all. Sophie's fine. She's holding court, eating chocolate, actually.
Surrounded by friends, it was all a misunderstanding about her pacemaker blown way out of proportion.
And Bella admits she sent the fax. She was worried Gladdy didn't know her.
Yeah, just pure anxiety driving it. It's that perfect mix of, genuine care, but also total drama.
And this Lanai Gardens setting, it's got this atmosphere, doesn't it? Constant chatter, quirky folks,
Yeah,
and there's this underlying fear, too.
the Peeper. Yeah, this local guy who's been scaring people. It adds this little bit of unease.
And it kind of introduces this idea, could the threat be someone inside the community?
Well, yeah, because then you have the missing file. Greta Kronk's file.
Right. She had sketches of everyone, and she's passed away now. Her file just vanishes.
From the condo office, which is like laughably unsecured. Key into the map, apparently.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really suggests the Peeper, or whoever took it, is probably one of them.
That whole hidden identity thing,
Mm.
it definitely foreshadows what's coming.
Mm-hmm. And the Peeper thing, it also gives Gladdy an excuse, sort of, to talk to Jack again. His son, Maury.
Maury Langford, the detective, he's on the case.
Right. So there's that personal connection still pulling Gladdy and Jack together, that unresolved stuff.
Okay, so the fax drama dies down. And the friends, they're kind of looking for something else to do, right? A new case for their little detective agency.
Yeah, they sift through some calls, pass on the shopping channel addict, tell someone else to call the police about stalking. They want something substantial.
And this is where Evvie comes in more. Gladdy's sister. She's thinking about dating again.
Yeah, she had a rust marriage before. So she's feeling ready for something new, which is,
Good.
well, it's interesting timing considering the case they take on. Makes her maybe a bit open, vulnerable.
Definitely. Which brings us to the main clients, Alvin and Shirley Ferguson, down from Seattle.
And they are instantly different, polar opposites almost. Their case is about Alvin's mother, Esther Ferguson, 95 years old.
Died in her bathtub at Grecian Villas, which sounds pretty upscale.
Very upscale.
Yeah.
And Alvin is just adamant she was murdered by her lover, Philip Smythe, who's 75.
But Shirley, Alvin's wife, she's like, no way, absolutely not. Natural causes. Philip Smythe, he was a saint.
Yeah, she remembers Esther calling him Romeo, and he called her Juliet. Complete disagreement. Was he a loving companion or, something much darker?
That's the puzzle they have to solve. Alvin pushes it, though. He hires them.
Even with Shirley practically rolling her eyes, telling him to hire these girls already.
And the fact that Grecian Villas is pricey suggests the Fergusons can afford this investigation.
Right. Important detail. And you get that great agency motto here, too.
Don't trust anyone under 75. A bit tongue-in-cheek.
But it fits their world, doesn't it?
Mm.
So case accepted. And the scene shifts dramatically.
From Lanai Gardens, which Gladdy thinks feels like a slum in comparison.
To Palm Beach. Wilmington House. Super elegant, very expensive.
It's a totally different world. And they meet the manager, Miss Hope Watson.
Oh, Hope. She's initially very Palm Beach,
Mm.
cold, a bit snobby.
And completely horrified when Gladdy and Evvie say they're private investigators looking into a death there.
Yeah, like, not in my establishment. This is definitely not good for the brand.
But Gladdy and Evvie, they work their magic. They convince her.
They appeal to her sense of integrity, justice, and well, the risk to the facility's reputation if there is a killer living there. They promise to be quiet.
Like little mice.
Mm-hmm. So Ove agrees, reluctantly, to let them stay undercover.
And their apartments there are pretty swanky.
Oh, yeah. Evvie is just thrilled. Don't you just love it, she says. You see that longing for something more glamorous in her.
Which kind of sets the stage for her later behavior, maybe. But before they even meet Philip properly, there's that really unsettling scene.
Right, the airport conversation. You just overhear these two guys, one older, one younger,
Yeah.
talking about targeting rich, older women.
And the older guy says something absolutely chilling.
Old ladies have a way of dying. Ugh, it's so dark. And you immediately suspect, okay, is this Philip Smythe or someone connected? It plants that seed of doubt.
And just as they're getting settled into their fancy undercover digs, disaster strikes. Or potential disaster.
Their friends show up. Sophie, Bella, and Ida just appear at Wilmington House.
They heard Gladdy and Evvie were in Palm Beach and thought it was like a spa trip.
Yeah, they're asking about facials, hoping for a free lunch. Gladdy and Evvie are panicking, obviously, thinking their cover is completely blown.
Talk about bad timing. But then the man himself arrives, Philip Smythe.
And he makes quite an entrance. Red Mercedes convertible.
Surrounded by women carrying designer bags, all fussing over him.
He looks the part, you know? Charming, popular, wealthy.
And Evvie decides her strategy is full immersion. She starts flirting. Heavily.
She basically creates a character for herself. Wealthy widow, doesn't have long to live. It's where her own desires, maybe that longing for romance, start to blur with the job. Dangerously.
And Gladdy picks up on it pretty quickly. This isn't just acting anymore.
No. Evvie starts spending the retainer money on expensive clothes. Shirley Ferguson calls Gladdy furious about the bills.
And worse, Evvie's getting really hands-on with Philip in public. Poolside games, dates by the pond.
Yeah, like that date where they talk about pills, vitamins versus Vicodin, and he recites poetry. It seems romantic, but...
Hope Watson, the manager, is watching all this, looking totally disgusted.
And Gladdy finally confronts Evvie, tries to reason with her.
Says, look, this fits a pattern based on what the others are digging up back home.
But Evvie just gets defensive, accuses Gladdy of being jealous, brings up Gladdy's issues with Jack. She is deep in this role.
To the point where she actually moves into Philip's apartment.
Which is, wow. That's a huge red flag. Yeah. The risk level just shot way up. She's either fully committed to deception or completely swept away.
But while Evvie's getting lost in Palm Beach, the investigation is actually making breakthroughs back home.
Thank goodness for the network, right? Barbie and Casey get on the computers.
And their search turns up something massive. Philip Smythe has an alias.
Ray Sullivan. And they find this pattern, him moving between these high-end retirement places. Tallahassee, Savannah, Macon, over the last 10 years or so.
But the really big thing, the wow moment, as Barbie puts it,
is that there's no record of Ray Sullivan anywhere before that 10-year period started. It's like he just appeared.
Which strongly suggests both names are just assumed identities, put on relatively recently.
And their digging also flags an incident in Tallahassee, Roman Villas. A woman named Pearl Mosher.
Which leads to this absolutely horrifying discovery.
Yeah. A groundskeeper, Pedro Reyes, is doing some digging at Roman Villas, finds plastic sheeting, and Pearl Mosher's body buried in the garden.
So that confirms it. Ray Sullivan, or Philip Smythe, is definitely linked to at least one death that wasn't natural at all. It's chilling.
And this is where Gladdy makes this incredible leap based on almost nothing, just a feeling maybe.
Connects Ray Sullivan to daytime television, soap operas.
It seems so random. But she runs with it. Talks to a soap expert friend, calls a talent agent, contacts a producer.
And finds the absolute bombshell, the key to the whole thing.
Ray Sullivan was an actor on a soap called World of Our Dream.
Get this, his character on the show
Was named Philip Smythe, nicknamed Romeo.
No way.
Yes. And in the soap opera storyline, that Philip Smythe murdered an 80-year-old wealthy woman in her bathtub.
Just like Esther Ferguson.
Exactly like Esther Ferguson. And the character then became like a serial killer on the show before the actor, Ray Sullivan, was fired. The parallels are just staggering.
Did he become the character, or did the character give him ideas? It's deeply disturbing.
Right. So Gladdy realizes, okay, this is huge. This connects everything. Time to call in the police.
She goes straight to Detective Maury Langford, Jack's son. Lays it all out for the task force.
All of it. The aliases, the list of retirement homes, the victims they know about 7 by now, the managers she's talked to, the Tallahassee connection with Pearl Mosher.
And the police, they look into it, and her work holds up.
Completely. They confirm the whole pattern, the previous victims. They figure Esther Ferguson's death probably happened because Alvin and Shirley showed up unexpectedly. It disrupted his pattern.
So they plan the arrest quietly at night.
At Wilmington House.
But they need to keep eyes on him until then and protect Evvie.
So they arrange for a retired cop, Donald Kincaid, to move into Wilmington House as a new resident. Undercover protection.
He gets introduced and even gives Evvie this little wink, right? Like, I got your back, even if she doesn't know why yet.
Meanwhile, Gladdy has this tense call with Hope Watson. Hope's freaking out, understandably.
Especially because Evvie is still with Philip, seemingly happy. Gladdy's advice is just keep them surrounded by people, limit the opportunity.
Hope is genuinely worried about Evvie, and probably the other residents too. The tension is just ratcheting up.
You can feel the climax coming. Even Evvie senses something's wrong.
Yeah, she says something is brewing. She feels it. And Philip, he's getting agitated too. Headaches, nightmares. Is it the pressure? Or is Ray Sullivan starting to crack?
And then the confrontation happens in his apartment.
Evvie finally puts it together. Maybe the name, the soap opera connection clicks. She asks him directly about Ray.
And that's it. The mask shatters. He completely breaks down.
Becomes really agitated, saying, they're here. Like he knows the police are coming. He says weirdly conflicting things to Evvie, like, I never wanted to hurt you.
But then he attacks her violently, hits her head, tries to smother her with a pillow.
It's terrifying. She fights back desperately.
And just as the police are breaking in, she manages to say something really significant.
Then let Ray go free. It's like,
yeah.
She understands, even in that moment, that he's two people, pleading for the part she thought she knew.
Then the police rush in, subdue him, arrest him.
Gladdy's there, sees the struggle, sees he had a knife, and she sees the look in his eyes as they take him away. Pure hatred, aimed at her.
God, the aftermath must have been intense.
Oh, yeah. You see Gladdy and Evvie in the police car later, with Maury and another officer, Oz.
Just tears, apologies.
Yeah.
Forgiveness between the sisters for everything that happened, the arguments.
And even a bit of dark humor about the gossip storm waiting for them back at Lanai Gardens.
Maury and Oz are just full of praise for Gladdy, though, calling her amazing, a hero.
Because she really cracked the case in a way the police hadn't managed to.
Back home, Evvie stays with Gladdy. Needs that support.
And Gladdy has to make that call to Alvin and Shirley Ferguson.
Confirms the arrest, tries to explain the whole split personality thing.
And Shirley's immediate reaction is just classic Shirley. Can we get a refund on those clothes Evvie bought? Priorities, right?
Unbelievable. The next morning, Evvie is just drained.
So weary, so sad. Grieving Ray, the man she thought she knew, even though she knows the truth about Philip, the killer. Gladdy's just there for her quiet support.
And then life kind of starts to intrude again.
Yeah, the friends arrive, Sophie, Bella, Ida, with lunch and gossip, bringing Evvie back into their world.
Oh, and the source ties up that loose end too, the Peeper.
Right. Almost forgot. Saul Spankowitz was a Peeper, caught by some Canadian resident.
But he gets saved from arrest because Tessie agrees to marry him.
Only in Lanai Gardens. And Sophie apparently had some dramatic hospital scare too, described as getting high. Another story for another day, maybe.
So when you step back from this deep dive, the big reveals are pretty stunning. This awful pattern targeting older women.
And the killer's identity being so bizarrely linked to this fictional character he played. That's the core of it.
It shows how tiny details, like a missing file or a soap opera plot, can be the key.
And it really highlights the skills of these friends, you know, their loyalty, their unconventional methods. They got results the official channels didn't initially.
Yeah, it makes you think about appearance versus reality and the nature of identity itself, especially when it fractures like that.
And how vulnerability, like loneliness or grief, can open people up to predators.
So maybe the provocative thought to leave you with is this: how much of who we are or who we seem to be is actually a role we're playing.
Yeah. And what hidden dangers, or maybe just hidden depths, might be lurking just beneath the surface in seemingly ordinary places, even in our own communities. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?